Hello and welcome to Parenting Today. My name is Rebecca Remunerate. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, once in a while, we have to delegate our roles as parents to other caregivers. And on today's show, we're going to talk about domestic managers or house managers, as we commonly refer to them. What are your experiences with hiring house managers? What do you look out for when you're getting a house manager who's going to act as a caregiver to your child while you are away? On set today is Maureen Maura and Wangari Karaoke. These are mothers, and they're going to share the experiences and what they look out for when hiring house managers, and also some of the signs to look out for when you're not okay with how your child is being raised by the house manager. We're also going to have Dennis Ogaro, a counseling psychologist, later on the show to give us expertise on this matter. Welcome to the show, ladies. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you.
Let me start with you. Can you introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Maureen Maura. I'm a mother of 3. I started hiring house managers way back in 2017. So this is my 7th year.
The 7th year. How old are your
Yes.
babies?
My babies are 7, 4, and 1.5 years. Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
To you, Wangari.
Hi, I'm Mombasa Road, a mother of 1. Started hiring nannies, I call them nannies, in 2019. So that's max 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, my baby's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we start with you, Maureen.
Yes.
Comparing now to your nanny, let me say that. Who spends the most time with the children? Is it you or your nanny?
My nanny, she spends most of the time with my children because I'm usually out of the house around 8 to 9 hours or even 12 hours. It gets to 12 hours. So mostly you find the nannies are home with the children most of the time. Yeah.
Okay. Let's start off. Maybe let me take you back to when you started hiring your first nanny.
Yeah.
Why was it necessary then, and how did they come in to assist you at that time?
Because it was the first experience, one, I wanted someone who would take care of my child. With my firstborn, she had some delayed milestones. So I was looking for someone who can take care of her, good care of her. Not only during the day, but also ensuring that she's able to be taught some other things that probably she especially with the milestone that she had not attained then. So I really wanted someone who was motherly, someone who would be there. Because, when you have a child who somehow is a special needs child, you want someone who is there, like full time, There are those who would be in the house, but they are on phone. They have other things to do, probably outside the gate, But I needed someone who is there. Yes. The whole day when I'm away, that she will keep telling me this is what is happening to your child, she's okay, she has fed well.
Updating you.
Yes,
How
yes.
was that hunt like, to get that perfect nanny for your child?
It was not easy. Because most of the time, they would come and say, mtoto hatembei bado, I can't take care of this one, she's not doing this and this, I cannot do this. So I kept looking for different, changing one after another. Yeah, until I got one who lived with us for around 4 months.
Wow. Oh,
Yes.
4 months?
Yes.
I thought you said like 4 years. Okay,
No.
please tell us more about that.
Yeah.
You, Wangari?
So basically, I was a first-time mom, very young. I was around 24. So I needed someone to take me through that whole process, just to be there with me as I'm also entering motherhood. But as well, it's not easy. Kwanza, the one I got, alikuja, and the next day, she didn't know I was just from the hospital. So she came. I didn't have anyone in the house. I'm so green. She came. I think akasurvey, akaona. The next day, she was gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And maybe that is even something I'm going to ask the counseling psychologist later. How much information should you give before
Yeah.
they
We
come?
need to know. Yeah.
Because I think you need to give them some information. You're shocked.
Yeah.
Back to you. Finding a perfect caregiver now for your child, for your special child. When this one who stayed for 4 months came in, what was it that you saw in her that at least was good with the baby? and for the baby?
I would say the motherly heart, because there are those who would come and say, mimi si mtu wa watoto. And because you're leaving this girl with your baby for almost 12 hours or 10 hours, you really would want someone who would play around with your child, you know, do those two things with your child, the games. Yeah, so when someone came and, you know, you survey, you try and look at someone, at some point unaona huyu haezi manage.
And you know, we always assume that if they have their own children, they're going to be good with
yes,
children.
yes.
There's always that assumption,
Yes.
but it's probably not always the case.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So did she have like her own children, her own child?
Yeah, she did. She had one child. And for me, I thought because she has one, then she will know how to take care of my kid. But for her, I didn't have any issues with her, especially taking care of the kid. The only thing that happened was she got a husband, I think before, so she got married after the 4 months.
After the 4 months?
Yes,
Whoa.
just around.
That was easy. She didn't have to tarmac alone.
Yes.
What was your experience like with your first Nanny?
Oh, that one, I didn't have so much experience with the first one,
Oh,
because
because
she
she
came
left.
then left the next day. So fast forward, I niliwacha stories za nannies and I got to look after my baby for 1 year. Then now when he was turning 2, I had to come back because I also had to go back to work. Then I got
Was it
another.
that discouraging, like to a point
Yeah.
of I don't want anyone else to
Yes,
take care of my child?
I really felt bad. I was like, okay, kwa nini hutaki kukaa na sisi surely? So nikasema tu, let me just take this moment to myself and my baby, tujuane, so that by the time I'm bringing someone else in the picture, I already have that bond with the baby, such that if he's not okay, I'll be able to read in between the signs. So for 1 year, I didn't have a nanny. Now the second year, my baby turns 2. I really need a nanny. I need to go back to work. I get another one. I say, let me start small. I called home and asked around. Unajua wale wa
That's
kutafutiwa
always
from
the
home.
drill.
Yeah.
So I got one. Alikuwa ni wa around, ananijua, but ni ile tunapimiana tu. So I didn't do orientation to her because hata mimi by then nilikuwa naogopa because I don't know, nishaona kuna mwenye hataki kukaa, so I don't want pia mwingine akuje na pia hataki kukaa. So the first time she came, I asked her nothing. She came, akaingia, nikamwambia, I only need you to do this and this. I didn't ask her if she has ever worked again. I did because I didn't want to like nimpime alafu kesho pia aende. So the first 1 week she was okay. Then all of a sudden I don't know what happened because huyo na yeye, she left the baby in the house. Me, I was being called by neighbors. House girl ametoka, ameacha mtoto, we rudi. It was devastating. So na hatukuwa tumefanya na anything. She was good, she was clean, because first thing, me when you come to my house, I talk about cleanliness. First of all, this is a baby we are dealing with, so we have to like take all cleanliness measures. Hizi mambo zingine unaweza achana nazo. I even tell them, I give you that benefit of hata naweza kupata kama hujafanya anything, bora mtoto wako sawa.
Utakuwa tu sawa. Is it the same case for you?
Yes.
And with children, do you have a criteria when you hire a nanny, like a domestic manager, and you're like, so this, I'm gonna take you through this, because she sounds like she was scared of ticking some boxes first, lest she finds something that she doesn't like about this one, and you have to go like the first one. How was that for you?
I think for me what I look at is she good with the kids? The rest we can sort baadaye. Yeah, whether she's clean or not, because I keep training my girls. So whether you're clean or not, I want to see, are you good with children? Will you be there, when I'm not, when probably I've traveled, will you be there? Will my kids be okay? That is the first thing I look at. Yeah, the rest we can sort kidogo kidogo. Yes.
And when you talk about training, what kind of training do you do? Like, do you seek professional training for them? What kind of training do you do?
We just trust ourselves to do the trainings. I think from our experiences, our own experiences, most of the time you probably want things to be done in a certain way. Yeah. So you just take them through. This is what I want from day one. This is what I would. This is how I would want you to prepare the meals if I'm not home. You need to clean the house. You know, you just make sure you give them those details.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think communication is really important.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we assume that they know.
Yeah.
Yes, amekuja.
Sure,
And maybe she's never interacted with the maybe appliances that are in
Yes.
your house.
Yeah.
She's never lived in a house like yours. So you don't really just expect them to know.
True.
So I'm really interested in the special child and like getting the perfect nanny for that child. How was that like? Did you feel the need to maybe give them extra training because of the child, and how has that been?
Having a child with a delayed milestone, one you would need someone that is really understanding and someone who has a motherly heart, as I said before. And so because that time I really dependent on referrals, I couldn't afford the bureau, going to pay the bureaus and getting house managers, I couldn't afford. So I was referred by a friend of mine. So the girl came. I asked her a few questions, whether she can handle my child, because every time I get a nanny, I have to explain to them, this is my child, this is how they behave, this is what they always want done. Yeah, so after a few questions, she told me she can work with me. She can work in our house, she can take care of the child, and that is how I settled in the first experience that I had. Yeah.
Okay. Before she found her husband.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but after which we'll still come back and talk to Maureen and Wangari about the experiences with hiring domestic managers. And later on, we're going to have Dennis Ogaro, a counseling psychologist, to help us just understand this whole relationship between the nannies and the employer. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching Parenting Today. Today we're talking about caregivers, but in form of house managers. Yes. We have Maureen Moora on set and Wangari Kariuki on set, who are telling us about the experiences. And to you, Wangari, now, you said you did have a list for the second one. How did that go now? From you regretting not really orienting her? And how did that inform your future hirings, so to speak?
So after she left, I was like so frustrated. I'm also hearing stories from my friends. We are talking, they are telling me, "Ata wangu alienda jana." So there's that whole circus of house helps and whatnot. So I was like, this is not what I want. You even feel frustrated with yourself. Unashanga kwani mimi ndo niko na shida. So I really I needed to take it professionally. So a cousin of mine had stayed with hers for 6 years, and I was really like jealous. I called her, I told her, unafanyanga nini please, because I also need the tips. So she told me she gets hers from a lady who has some sort of like a bureau. So that one you orient her through the phone. If you feel like you don't like the tone or whatever on the phone, that first hello, you just dismiss her, you get another one until you get the right one. So that is what I did, which also did not turn out so well because we only stayed for like 3 months and she was gone, though she was nice. When she came, I really took her through the process. So when they come to my house, the next morning, we wake up with you. Na kuonyesha, this is how you unashika rag, unaosha hivi, kitunguu, this is with the baby, everything. So that now, moving on forward, you don't have atutasumbuana. So that is what I did. She was quite nice, but like she said, wanapatanga mabwana. And apparently, pia yeye alipata after 3 months, and she left.
And she left.
Yes.
And I like what she's talking about because we have cultures. Like every home has a culture. This is what I like my children treated like this. I like this. They shouldn't watch this, or they shouldn't have this much screen time. They shouldn't play too much, or they shouldn't. I mean, we have systems that operate in our we operate within in our homes. How has that been for you now with the 3 kids? And I suppose you said, how old are they? The
7, 4,
yes.
1.5.
1.5. Those are different ages. How has it been for you in terms of getting the domestic managers to just adopt to the culture and also just instill some form of discipline to these children?
Wow. I think one is to get someone who really wants the job. Yeah, because sometimes mtasumbuana bure, you know, someone just comes to pass time. And with the 3 kids, I think all of them have different needs. But once you understand this one anakula hii saa, huyu mwingine anataka hivi, I think it gets easy at some point, yeah. But the challenge has always been, you find a nanny who probably doesn't take watermelon, so she'll not give the kids the watermelon. Yeah, because she doesn't take. And sometimes you keep telling them, this is what I want done, you know. Sometimes you even write somewhere and you pin it somewhere so that they see. At this point, I want you to do this. At this time, I want you to do this. But sometimes you will find there are those who will adhere to whatever you've written. There are those who, at the end of the day, will not even try to do anything concerning that. And so what we look at is, are you willing to do this job, or you've just come to pass time?
Yes.
You've come, probably you need fare to go somewhere, you know. You
come to Nairobi.
Yes, you need
land in
yes,
Nairobi.
Yes, yeah. So that is it.
Okay. And for you, what are some of those signs? How many domestic managers have you had since your child was born 4 years ago?
But I've had like, let's say 10.
10.
At most 10, yeah.
At least 10.
Yeah.
Let's say at least 10.
Yeah.
So amongst the 10, what are those signs that you always look out for? I'm assuming that you're still hiring.
Yeah.
So what are some of those signs that you've always looked out for? Like, if I see this, then she has to go. Or if I see this, then I know she's good with my child.
Yeah. So fast forward to those many coming and going, I finally settled on a good one. We've stayed with her for 2 years and she's really amazing. But I don't think there's anything that you can see to make you say, oh, you are partner. Because for her, I was even a little bit pessimistic. I didn't want her, but she turned out to be the best. Yeah. But when they come, there's another one I got. Immediately I saw her, she came with a boda. Nilimwambia rudi. She had red hair. And immediately I knew, huyu na nywele zake za red.
That's it.
We can't. But I think you just trust God, by the way.
Sometimes those first time appearances might be deceiving, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think I have a similar experience with that.
Okay.
With red hair, and then they turn out to be so good.
Yes.
And you don't want to give them a chance, but they turn out to be so good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I judged.
Okay.
So, fast forward, alikuwa nakuja mina. I just tell you what I want. And later on, I realized you're not coming for me. Because at some point, they thought, akikuja, she thinks she's coming for you. No, it's a two-way traffic. Yeah. So just don't put it on your side like, I need you so much. You also need me. So the moment you come, I notice, I tell you this 2 times, you're not doing what I told you, go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, I think as a parent, it's always looking at what the children are saying about her.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have a 5-year-old, so you can imagine, like, if she comes and tells me, I don't like her, or she's looking at me badly, or she'll tell me she's listening to bad songs, or believe you me, trust. I always, that's what I use, to judge. Yeah. Most of the times, that's what I use to judge. And for the times that I've ignored what the child is saying, they've turned out to be true.
True, yeah.
And this person was actually not a genuine person. So have you had, what's like your worst experience with with domestic managers?
Oh, worst experience. One, there's one I got, I remember I picked her from town and I was told, huyu hajawai kanyaga Nairobi. And so because I live along the Eastern Bypass, as we went home, I remember she asked me, ile bypass ya Ruiru? I'm like, excuse me, is this your first time? Yes, the same day. And then I think from there I started having trust issues. Because now, first of all, you've lied, you know. This is not your first time in Nairobi. You even know the Ruiru bypass, you know.
Hey, Ruiru,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah,
all the way.
yeah. So the following day I left for work. I remember I left my husband behind. He left later. And then I came back at around 5. But when I was at work, I kept feeling everything is not okay. So I got home because I used to work in Westlands and I live along Eastern Bypass. I got home like 2 hours later. And then I find my child. She had cried. She was, you know, her face had turned red. And because she couldn't, she had the delayed milestone issue, so she couldn't like get herself out of the bed. So I found her hanging on the net. So I was like, what time did she leave? Then you try calling the number, she's not picking. Yes. I try calling the agency that connected her to me. They are telling me, sisi hatujui hiyo. I'm like, where should I report this case? You know? I think for me, that was the worst. That was the worst. Yeah, and then another time, you get home, you find your child has a soiled diaper. You don't know for how many hours. When you ask, they tell you, sikuona mahali diaper ilikuwa.
Oh, wow.
The child has not been fed. It's around 9 p.m. You ask, what was the last time you fed this child? They tell you, alikunywa uji 4 p.m. That's a 2-year-old. And you're wondering, surely, what's the problem with you, you know? Yeah, so sometimes, you know, there are experiences you like go through that you feel, sometimes I would rather resign from my job and just take care of my children. Yeah.
How has it been for you? Do you think you've had too high expectations? Sometimes I think you know, we always told that sometimes you have too high expectations for them and they don't maybe meet our standards.
Yes, I had an experience of one. I thought she was like the best because everything she had just alikuwa ananionyesha she's the one I need. But then again, along the way, she started to madharau. Mtoto akimwongelesha, hamuongeleshi. You'd hear the boy is calling her auntie. She won't respond. But me, the moment I talk to her, she's responding like immediately. So I was like, okay, I don't like that. And before that, we had not had any like so much differences. Ni ule ukimwambia kitu atasikia, and that's it. So that one for me was like, apana, you're here in the first place because of my baby. So I don't understand kwa nini, and si ati aski, unasikia vizuri sana anasikia, but she won't just respond. Yeah.
Those are, you know, I like how you've just expressed your experiences, and I'd want to know more about some of the signs to look out for. Some of the red flags to look out for when hiring a domestic manager. We're going to speak to Dennis Ogaro, a counseling psychologist, after this short break. You're watching Parenting Today. Welcome back. You're watching Parenting Today. Today we are talking about caregivers, and in this case, house managers. On set is Maureen Mwaura and Wangari Kariuki, who are mothers and employers in this case. And we also have Dennis Ogaro, who has just joined us. He's a counseling psychologist, and he's going to respond to some of the questions that these two lovely ladies have for him. But first, hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Ogaro, like you said. I'm a counseling psychologist. I've been practicing since 2012. That's quite a bit of time and experience I've had. But also, I'm a parent. So even as I share the experiences here, I'm also bringing in my experience with it as a profession as well.
Yes, and as a man in this case.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we leave out the men when it comes to domestic managers. Hiyo mama atadili na yeye, hiyo sijuangi, hiyo mambo ya. You know, when they want to communicate something, they'll communicate through us. So, and it's a good thing that you've actually brought that up, because what are some of the things that we need to look out for as parents when hiring a domestic manager or a caregiver in this case, someone who's going to watch over our children? What are some of those things that you look out for?
Even as we think about bringing on house managers, the first thing I want to focus is on the parent. In this case being both the mother and the father. And I would say and underscore that presence is key. And by presence I mean that regardless of the little time that you have with the child, children normally would orient themselves to attention. So when you are within the vicinity of home, the home environment, the child will want to feel your presence by physically being there, psychologically being there, being able to give them the attention that they require. So I could say that that is the very first thing, because even for parents, we offer, both the mothers and fathers, we offer different levels of attention. You will notice children will tend to orient towards the mother in specific spaces and move to the father in specific spaces. That choice is always a very intentional process of attachment and bonding between the child and the parents. And it's always different for mothers and fathers. So I would say just being present, regardless of the little time that you have, but be present.
Being present,
yes,
for your children in the first place. So when hiring, let me go back to that. When we want to look out for someone, a caregiver who's going to take care of our children, what should I look out for when I'm going out there, maybe to the bureau, or making that phone call back in Shags saying I'm looking for this kind of a person? What are we looking at?
I would say the first thing that you need to do is profile the kind of person you want. I heard at the beginning that Wangari had indicated that she just found someone and did not have a clue on what to do. And I can easily identify with her, because as first-time mothers, you have all these things you are thinking in your mind about giving your child the best and being able to provide the best. But sometimes in that regard, then you don't know what is the best. But I would say profile it from yourself. Identify with the things that you would want done to do as a parent, and then try to profile an individual who could fit that. Because in other words, the person that you're bringing on board is a mother, is going to be a mother to that child. And you want the version of you in that child. Therefore, I would say profile. And profiling means that you know what you would want, and it doesn't harm you telling this person when they come, because it's like the job description, kind of. So in that instance, I think that's where the issue of where there was no understanding between the house manager versus the mother would come in and sometimes injure that relationship. So profile, be clear, allow yourself to be like the one who could be doing that role, and just come up with a JD.
You need to come up with a JD.
Yes.
Like that. Most of the times we don't come up with a JD. We always assume, oh, na by the way, zikate utatoa siku fulani. Oh, how important is it to just structure that? And how do you do it?
You spoke of bureaus initially, and maybe employment agencies that could employ. Sometimes they have that, they can do that for you, and they would orient to giving a profile of the people that they have. Therefore, you would easily look out for, does this meet my specifications or not? But for first-time mothers especially, I would also say sometimes consult with people around you, especially if you have like a mother figure around you or someone who has had the experience. They would go a long way in allowing you that experience and maybe indicating some of the things that you need. But once you're given feedback, you need to internalize it and still come up with what you require out of this. So ideally, that situation of going out to probably areas where they already have these house managers and you are able to pick, they will give you a profile. Now, however, I must say that some of the bureaus may not have that information. So you need to find a credible bureau within which you can be able to find if you are going to the bureau. Secondly, we have had in a number of cases individuals going home to their home areas to identify people, friends of friends.
Yes. Back home. Talk about my flag.
Exactly. So even if that was the case, still don't step outside your profile. I know given circumstances of us returning to work might put us in a situation where we are desperate to find someone, but it still takes that sense of intentional process of you identifying. Once now the person has come, even if you didn't have much clarity about the individual, then sit down with the individual, allow them the sense of knowing what exactly you expect. Some of these people are coming from the rural areas. Most of us, sometimes we want to go to the rural areas and get people who are from the rural areas.
Over to you, ladies. Do you have any questions for Dennis?
There are times a house manager would wake up and tell you, I am leaving. It's mid-month, or probably you've gone like a week. What do you do in such a circumstance? And sometimes I keep feeling like I need to draft my own contract so that when they come, they will sign and no one will leave when they want to leave, you know. So what happens when they leave? Am I supposed to pay the full salary? To the issue of contract, is it advisable we draft our own contract, and because we are also employers?
Wangari, maybe you can just ask the two questions, then you can respond to them.
Is there like, okay, they say from 18 you're a citizen and you can work, but is there like a specific age you should always consider? Because even the old ones, they're also a piece of work. The young ones, is there like a specific age?
Okay. Thank you very much for the questions. I like the aspect of the contract. In any agreement, there needs to be a contract. What has been happening is informal contracts have been happening all along. And that's why sometimes a house manager could wake up and, decide, because there was no sign. So signing a contract, I think, is one way towards engaging someone professionally to the effect of even coming up with little regulations about how do we terminate. Because of the need of getting someone to come in and assist in the parenting, there tends to be no focus on then what could happen at the termination. And it is a two-way. You can also not, as a mother, wake up one day and now tell the house manager, please go. So the contract tends to bring about a little bit of sanity relating to termination. So I would really like mothers or parents, so to speak, just devise a contract that you think works for you. And you may need to have it explained, because some of the house managers you'll have may not have much knowledge about contracts. Have it explained, and where possible, if they need clarity, allow them to make that clarity. That will go in a long way in making it. And when they want to go, you'll bring that contract and allow them that, this is what we agreed. So can we stick to it, or what alternatives then do you give me? And the contract should spell out, in the case where a house manager did that, then they will have to do something, maybe a form of agreement that needs to be done. They will do that based on that contract. So I agree with that. The second question relating to the age of the house manager, I'll say that can be as varied as the preferences of the individual. I've had even mothers saying they want to get the ugliest of house managers so that they can snatch their husbands. That is something that I've had say. However, in terms of age, right now we are having the CBC in place. We are having, even before CBC, we bring someone on board who can journey with your child in the milestones. Children develop according to specific milestones. And you'll find there is a time they need to learn other languages. So if this person only knows the native language, then you'll have the challenge. The child will have the challenge of learning other languages. Therefore, having someone who is learned, someone who could also be able to communicate to the child, someone who can assist the child in the education process of that child. Even assignments, sometimes you may not be there. You may go working far off places, and that child may need to do assignments. So find someone to that effect. There are also those who go for elderly nannies, as we know them by name. And the sense there is that you would provide someone a motherly figure. And in this case, if I went back to the situation where I was saying the perfect situation of mother and father, I also understand that some of us mothers are raising our children singly, or fathers raising the children singly. But the sense is that within the scope of the person that you would require, understand the milestone at which your child is, and bring in somebody who can assist that child to develop within the milestones. Okay? Because the effects then, if that doesn't happen, you will find there is a gap that is ongoing in the children.
Yeah.
Wow. That I think is really, really important.
Yeah.
Finally, maybe before we end the show, I'd want to know about the wage bill. Like, how do you remunerate them for their services? What are the expected standards, their health, how are you supposed to take care of their health? Talk about that.
I would say that has also been one of the contentious issues. As you are aware, there is even some few regulations that have been put in place as to how we should remunerate our house managers. The first thing we need to note is that this might be an individual who also has dependents. Yeah. So, and that comes in with the age aspect that was brought up. So younger people may negotiate for less. So, but the thing to use in terms of coming up with the salary is negotiate with them. Right now we are even having, and to be in the current context of even our government structures, we are even having the taxation regulations now coming in, where any person who is paid a certain remuneration, tax has to be remitted. NHIF and the NSSF are also remuneration that ought to be. So as you come up with the package, those ought to be elements that you need to factor. Otherwise, you will be doing it against the law. Lastly, on that note, relating to the issue of payment, we have had circumstances where parents sometimes tend to keep money for their house managers, like an agreement kind of. And sometimes that tends either to work towards the agreement or against the agreement. So remember, pay is a right. And regardless, unless it is a profiled agreement between you and the house manager, always be paying them. Yes.
Okay. I think we need another whole show on this, just to learn on how to relate to the house managers. Thank you so much, Wangare and Maureen, and also Dennis, for your contribution to today's show. You've been watching Parenting Today. My name is Rebecca Miruri Mulore. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to Tile and Carpet, where we deal with everything you would need at home, in the office, restaurant, and hotels. We offer solutions to all your needs. We have a wide range of roofing solutions, tiles, sanitary furnishing, and interiors. We have exquisite furniture, elaborate dining sets, and classic comfy beds. Our prices are affordable across board. Feel free to visit us in any of our different branches in Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nairobi. We also do site visits and offer clients with professional advice. You can reach us on this number for the site visit.